Hello and welcome back. I'm Alastair and today I'm going to be reviewing the Sportiva Prodigio Max. The Prodigio Max is very much an all-mountain trail running shoe that I'm going to call a trail cruiser because it's one of those max cushioned all-mountain trail running shoes. Not really designed for highly technical trails, but certainly designed for ultra distance and moderate to technical trails. So for anyone who is looking for a shoe that's going to give you complete comfort, total protection underfoot, but also good control on the run over ultra distance, then stick around. I think you're really going to enjoy learning about this one. Right, let's kick off this review with the key specifications of a Prodigio Max. They cost $185, which I think is very well priced for an all-mountain trail cruiser like this. But again, I'll let you know if this particular shoe is worth that price tag at the end of this review. They weigh 10.8 ounces or 306 grams for a size US men's 9, my pair. If you're wondering where that sits in comparison to other trail running shoes in this category, well actually that's very lightweight for such a highly cushioned all-mountain trail shoe like this. They have a drop of 6 millimeters, that's 37 millimeters under the heel and 31 millimeters under the forefoot. The upper is using comfort wire TPE mesh and TPU embroidery, and a toe cap is featured here as well. It is not a completely solid toe cap, it's kind of semi-reinforced, but that does give protection to your toes, a little bit of protection at least. The midsole is using XFlow Endurance, which is nitrogen infused eTPU and EVA outer cage, and that just gives you a really nice balance of having a soft ride underfoot, or cushioned ride, and protective ride, but also it's balanced enough so that it does hold form enough to give you stability on the run. And it's got a good amount of response too. The outsole is using FriXion XT2 rubber compound with 4mm LASPO lugs. The lugs are nice and aggressive, meaning these are good for muddy conditions, but also running up steep hills and running down technical trails. When it comes to sizing and fit, the Prodigio Max does come up small. Classic La Sportiva, especially if you do go by US sizing. What that means is just size up a half size in your US size and you'll be absolutely fine with that. There's a good amount of room in the toe box for a little bit of toe splay. That helps with temperature regulation within the shoe as well. Makes it just feel comfortable on long distance runs. And the midfoot has a nice secure fit. Now, the heel lock could be even better. The reason it isn't is because these side walls or collars are actually very low for a running shoe, which is interesting for a all-mountain trail running shoe. It could have even better stability if it did have higher walls to kind of support your foot within the shoe better, but more on that in a moment. And then the step-in comfort of a shoe is really nice as well because there is lots of padding around the collars and the heel counter at the rear. The tongue doesn't have a huge amount of padding, but it does have sectioned pads, which is where the laces would give you lace bite when you do them up tight. So they've mitigated that issue by having padding where you need it. That helps reduce the weight overall as well. If you're enjoying this review so far and you feel like you're learning something along the way, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. That'll let you know as soon as new reviews drop. Please like the video. It's very easy to do, but I really appreciate it, and likes really help my channel grow. And finally, if you've had experience in the Prodigio Max, I want to get your thoughts on them. I want to know how you've been using them, what kind of trails you've been running in them, how you've been getting on, all that kind of stuff. Please put it in the comments. That's really going to help anyone who lands on this video. It's going to help them decide whether or not this shoe is going to be best for them. The more information, the better. Moving on to my performance review then. I'm going to start with the ride and the midsole geometry and foam that enables that ride. How it actually feels on the run, but also how it performs in terms of control and protection over the long run. The XFlow Endurance dual foam setup provides a really nice soft landing, but then a nice responsive pushback when you're running, and it gives you a really efficient ride over longer distances. And I like the fact that it's not plush. It's got a really good balance, meaning you do maintain stability if you are going to be running on more technical trails. Having better stability gives you better control and ultimately more confidence when you're running on technical trails. And the fact it's such a high stack height does mean you have comfort and protection underfoot, which is really good if you are going to be out there for hours and hours on end because you're running ultras or you're training for an ultra. Then having all that protection underfoot is really good too. One thing I did notice about this midsole foam setup, however, is it feels firm out the box. So the first few runs I had in them, I was expecting something a lot more soft or more cushioned underfoot than it actually was. But actually after a few runs I started to see the true Prodigio Max when the foam started wearing in and it just started softening up. So if you have bought these shoes and you're wondering why they're so firm, well, just keep running in them, you'll see it softens up. The protection underfoot is really good because the stack is so high. You don't need a rock plate in here to protect your feet from sharp rocks or sticks underfoot, stuff like that. You don't have to worry about that at all because you don't feel it through this midsole. There's a nice rocket geometry to this midsole as well. So you do get a nice soft or smooth transition from heel landing to toe takeoff. The midsole is also fairly wide. The footprint of the midsole and the outsole does have good width, and that really helps with stability as well. If you are going to have a very high stack height and you're going to be running on trails, you have to have stability. You have to introduce that somehow. And the ways you do it is by having dual density foams, so it's firmer in certain areas of the foam, so you do have stability, usually on the edges of the outsole or midsole. And you can do it by cradling your foot, by having the walls go up higher than your feet, which is what I mentioned earlier. And you can have the footprint wide enough so you've got more surface area contact when you're running, and that gives you more stability as well. The Prodigio Max incorporates all of those features, and you do feel it on the run. Now, don't go expecting a nimble, fast shoe with the Prodigio Max. That's not what this is for. It's what I would call a trail cruiser. So it's for those middle of a pack runners who want to run long distances, but you want protection and comfort throughout all the hours that you're going to be running in. And you're not too concerned about gunning it all the way and trying to get a podium finish. If that's the kind of running you want to do and you still want good cushioning and a nice amount of response, then basically you want the Prodigio Pro. That's the shoe that will help you get to the finish as quickly as possible. But it's a very, very different ride and it's a different shoe altogether. So if you are interested in something like that, I recommend watching my review next. Moving on to the traction and control that you get from this FriXion 2 rubber compound and lug formation. So the lugs are 4mm deep, which is nice and aggressive, and the shape, the chevron shape that points forward at the front and backwards at the heel, means that you get a nice bite into the trails when you are going up steep inclines, and you get traction when you are going down steep hills and you're landing more on your heels. The FriXion 2 compound gives you very good traction on most surfaces. Not the best on slick wet rocks, but to be honest, most rubber compounds can't handle that situation either. It's only really Vibram Mega Grip that does a fantastic job there. And then when it comes to the upper and comfort of the upper on the run and security and support, it is very good. It's incredibly durable, but it is not very breathable. There's hardly any breathability at all. Be aware of that. This upper will not drain that well. So if you do submerge it, maybe you've got a river crossing, anything like that, it's not going to vent off very quickly. So you're going to be carrying the extra weight of the water in the upper of this shoe, but also potentially inside the shoe as well. And it's not going to be great in hot conditions either. We are moving into winter, so if you do plan on running on dry, cold days, this would be perfect for that. So think about all of those things, and if you are in a situation where this won't be that good for you, then definitely check out my roundup of the best all-mountain trail running shoes up there. That'll help you find a better fit for you right now. The collars are really padded, so it does give you a really nice fit. But the tongue, I feel, could be a little bit longer, and there could be more padding towards the top of the tongue too. I did mention this earlier, that the walls or the collars are very low. Some people will notice that right away, especially when running on technical trails, and the fact that it doesn't have a huge amount of support because of that. So I think if you've got very strong ankles and you're used to running technical trails, then this won't be an issue for you. But maybe if you're a beginner and you do want to run on some technical trails, these won't be the best for you because the support in this upper just isn't the best because of these low walls. And going back to the tongue, if you do want to get a better heel lock because of these low walls, there isn't a huge amount of padding here to do that racer's loop heel lock method. I mean, you can do it, there's enough tongue there, but there's not enough padding going up to the top of the tongue to stop that lace bite from happening if you do that lacing system. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just drop a comment in the comments. I reply to everyone. Well, you've made it to my final verdict. Are they worth $185? Meh. Yes, they're a really good shoe. They are a very, very good shoe. But there are other really, really good Max Cushion trail cruiser, all mountain trail running shoes out there right now too. So, I don't know. I think this one's really going to depend on how it fits you and your feet. I think these low walls here might be a deal breaker for some, but they might be a huge selling point for those who have particularly low ankle bones. So you know who you guys are. You're the ones who have low ankles and you always feel the sidewalls or collars pushing on the bottom of your ankles. Well, you've got low ankle bones. Nothing wrong with that. Actually, these shoes would be absolutely perfect for you. I don't know, if you like the look of it, you like La Sportiva, then I would say absolutely go for it. It is a very good Max Cushion trail cruiser, but I highly recommend you do check out my roundup because there are some other shoes that I feel do beat this one right now. And you'll see, because I ranked them on there, you'll see which ones are the best right now. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this La Sportiva Prodigio Max review. I hope it gave you the insights as to whether or not this trail cruiser is going to be right for you or not. And if you've got any questions at all, drop in the comments down below. I reply to everyone. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification, and I'll see you on the next review. Peace.